Hello, 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 hello. Happy Friday. We made it. We made it. Friday night. Just got paid. Body hunting. Welcome back, y'all. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Listen, this is going to be a good conversation today. Okay, listen. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Friday. I am so glad that you are here today because we're going to be talking about something that I think about all the time. We're going to be talking about something that changed how I see my work. This thing changed how I coach, and honestly, it changed how I spend my time and my energy. And if you have been in this community, in this Her Income Edit, Nick Scott ecosystem, if you have been in our orbit for any amount of time, you have probably heard me say this before. But I want to go just a little bit deeper today. I want to unpack this in a way that I haven't before, okay? Because the surface version of this idea is all over the place. But the version that will shift your entire business, that one's a little bit harder to find. And that's why I'm going to have this conversation today. So we're going to find this version together. Here it is. Here's the thing. People do not pay for information. They pay for transformation. People do not pay for information. They pay for transformation. And if you are taking notes, I want you to write that one down. Because here's the thing. Before you're like, yep, Nick, you're right. Before you just nod and then move on, I want to just stay right here for a second, okay? Because I have said this in rooms full of smart, accomplished, high-achieving women, and I have watched them nod their head like, yep, Nick, you right, like they already knew it. And then I have watched those same women go back and create another course full of modules. I have watched these same women create another freebie full of tips or another workshop packed with content, and then they wonder why none of that is converting. So today, we are not just going to be saying the thing. Today, we are going to be living in it, okay? So let me tell you a story. I remember the period in my career where I felt like I was doing everything right. I had the credentials, I had the experience, I had a decade plus of results under my belt, right? More than a decade of results under my belt. And I was sharing everything that I knew. I was sharing it freely. I was just giving away. I was being generous. I was doing this all the time. And I kept wondering why the people who were consuming my content weren't becoming my clients. Right? Like they would watch every single video. They would download every single resource. They would reply to every email with, this is so good. And then they would go hire somebody else. And at first, I told myself it was a visibility problem because that is always the first place we go. We're like, you know what? If my stuff isn't selling, then I need to go harder on my content. I need to be more visible. I need to be on every single platform so lottie-dottie and everybody could find me, right? And then I thought it was a pricing problem because that's the second thing that we think. So if people aren't buying, the first place we go is to our content. The second place we go is a price. Oh, wait, maybe the price is too high. Let me lower the price, right? And then I thought maybe I just wasn't the right personality for this. But it was none of that. Like none of that was true, y'all. What I finally understood after a lot of reflection, a lot of self-accountability, and a lot of trial and a lot of honest conversations with women who were actually converting and scaling, what I found out is this. I was giving too much information. I was giving away too much knowledge. And women who were consuming my content, they were walking away more informed and just as stuck. So they were getting a lot of information because information without a path forward, it is not transformation. It is just a smarter version of standing still. And let me just stay right here for a second, okay? Because I think a lot of us who are sharp, we're knowledgeable, we're multi-skilled, we're professional. We have been operating under the belief that that is working against us in our businesses. We've been taught that if we just share enough, if we prove enough, if we give enough away, that the right people will see our value and then they'll start to pay for it. So we start to treat our skills like a portfolio. We put it all on display, and then we are like completely confused when our audience grows but our income doesn't move. And I want you to hear me on this one. That is not a personal failure, okay? That is the way that we have, that's a contextual problem. And the thing about it is contextual problems have contextual solutions, okay? So when you understand the difference between selling information and selling transformation, everything starts to change. It's not just going to be your marketing, and it's not just going to be your offer. Your entire relationship to what you know starts to change, because your skills aren't your product. What your skills can do for someone else, that is the product. That's the product. And that right there, that is the part of this idea that I really want to talk about today, okay? So welcome back to another episode of Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott. I am the founder and CEO of Her Income Edit. We're an online education platform that's designed to help women turn their skills into coaching income, digital products, and online businesses so they can earn more, depend less on traditional employment, and design a life on their terms. If you haven't already, I invite you to go get your notebook and your pen or whatever it is you take notes on. Share the link to this video in the group chat. Text it to your biz bestie. I want you to settle in. Go get your water, your tea, your coffee, your wine, your cocktail. It's Friday. Happy Friday. I want you to settle in, get comfortable, kick your feet up, stay a while. Say hello in the chat so I know where you're coming from, because we're about to get into this thing, okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I see you on YouTube. Happy Friday. Yay. Okay, so here is something that I think is just completely under-acknowledged in the online business space. And that is, we are living in the most information-saturated era in human history. Can I get an amen? The most information-saturated era in human history. Literally, any question that you have, there is a YouTube video for it. There's a blog post somewhere. There's definitely a Reddit thread. There is a free 47-page PDF from someone who really over-delivers. But yet and still, people are still more confused. They're more overwhelmed, and they're more stuck than they ever have been in any other era in human history. And I find that to be very interesting, don't you? Literally, we are walking around with whole computers in our pocketbooks and our handbags and our pockets, right? All this information is literally accessible to us within seconds. But people are more confused, overwhelmed, and stuck than ever before. That is interesting to me, because look, here's why. It's because more access to information, it hasn't produced more clarity. More access to information, it hasn't produced more action either. More access to information, it has not produced more income. In fact, for a lot of people, more information has just created more analysis paralysis. It has created more spirals of shame. It has created more, I already know I need to do this, but I haven't done it. Does that sound familiar to you? I want to offer you a different way to look at this, okay? Because the problem was never that people didn't have enough information, because information is everywhere. It's in abundance. Like, we're in information overload, as a matter of fact. The problem is that the information without the right support, the right sequencing, and the right accountability is just data. Listen, I remember when I first started, when I had to make that quick pivot after my layoff earlier this year in 2026, and I went all in with her income edit. I remember talking to my dad, and he was tuning into my lives. If you're still watching, Dad, hey, Dad. He was tuning into my lives at the very beginning. What you'll notice, this, I'm going to take a tangential moment right here. What you will notice when you first start your business is that all of the people who support you, they're going to come out the woodworks in droves. So when you very first start in this, you will get a ton of support from your family, your friends, from, people in your network. They're going to watch everything when you first start. They're going to comment, they're going to engage, they might even buy, they're going to share. And this is when you first start. But even if they don't really understand what you're doing, they're going to do it just because they want to support you. But that support, that core support, it does start to dwindle the longer you do this. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there. But yes, so my dad was watching one of my lives, one of the very first Nick at Noons that I did. If you missed it, I invite you to go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I'm getting ready to tell you this story about my dad. Okay. So on the phone with my dad, and he's like, okay, I see what you're doing. Tell me more about it, all the things, right? So then he says to me, well, that just seems like something that ChatGPT could tell you. Like, I can just go to ChatGPT and learn all of that, right? And I'm telling my dad, I'm like, oh yes, you can go to ChatGPT and you can get all the information that you want. But what you're not going to get is the human to human connection. You're not going to get the accountability. You're not going to get the guidance. You're not going to get the community. You're not going to get the right sequencing. You're not going to get the accountability. All you're going to get is data. And so that prompted me that my very next live, if you go on my YouTube channel and you look at the history of Nick at Noon videos, I think it might have been maybe my second or third live for Nick at Noon. There's not even a thumbnail on it. Like, that's how fresh I was in this, okay? I did a whole conversation about AI, and it came from that conversation that I had with my dad. And this is a very similar conversation to what we're having today, because like I said, information people are not buying information. So the problem is not that people don't have enough information. That's the whole point that I'm trying to make, if I haven't already made that point, because people have information. The problem is, you can have all this information, but if you don't have the right support, if you don't have the right sequencing, if you don't have the right accountability, it is just data. It's just data. And, the conversation that I had with my dad, I'm like, listen, all this information is not going to change somebody's behavior. It's not going to prompt somebody into action. You can sit and chat with ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, whoever your favorite AI assistant is. You can spend hours with them mapping out your whole entire coaching business, but it's not going to change your behavior. What's going to change your behavior is context, community, a personalized path forward. That is what's going to change behavior. And that is why people are still hiring coaches. They're not hiring coaches because they can't Google something or they can't ask ChatGPT. They're hiring coaches because they need someone who can look at their specific situation and say, I see exactly what's happening here, and here is what you should do next. You literally can spend hours. I have seen it with my own eyes. Spend hours mapping out a whole business plan on your AI, and you still haven't moved on it for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Why? Why? Because you're not getting a transformation. All you have is a bunch of information. All you have is a bunch of data. You don't have any accountability. You don't have any sequencing. You don't have that human to human connection. Now, let me break this down in a way that might challenge some of what you may have been taught about this. There are 3 things that most creators and coaches confuse: content, curriculum, and coaching. If you're taking notes, this might be something you might want to jot down. 3 things that most creators and coaches, they get these things confused. It is content, curriculum, and coaching, okay? Content is what you share publicly. Your content is the thing that should be building awareness, visibility, and trust for you and your business, okay? That's what content is. Curriculum is structured learning. So this is the thing that delivers your knowledge in a sequence. And then coaching is transformation. Coaching delivers outcomes through a relationship, not a transaction, through a relationship. Content, curriculum, and coaching, they are 3 distinct different things. And here's the thing that I want you to notice about this. You can consume content forever and ever and ever and stay stuck. You can complete an entire curriculum and still not implement. But when you're in a coaching relationship with the right guide, in the right container, with the right community around you, guess what? You're going to move. You're going to take action. Listen, I am not throwing shade at courses. One of my best selling products is a course. It's my micro course, 2K in 2 hours. I believe in courses. I sell them. I will continue to sell them. But I want you to understand the distinction here, because there's a reason someone will just buy a course and have it sit in their desktop for 6 months without opening it and show up to every single coaching call. The accountability loop is different in that. The investment is different. The commitment is different, and the results are different. Here, listen, I don't know how many people have purchased 2K in 2 hours at this point. I don't know. I should know that number, but I don't. But anyway, many women have already purchased 2K in 2 hours, right? And I can count on one hand how many women have actually implemented the thing, who have actually told me that they implemented the thing, right? So it's a course. It's a great course. It is designed to get you to your first $2,000 offer in 2 hours, period. Like, if you take 2 focused hours of work and you get that thing done, you will have an offer that you can sell it within 2 hours. That's exactly what it's designed to do. These same people who buy 2K in 2 hours will come into my program, Ignite, and they'll show up for every single coaching call, even if they did not do the work that's in 2K in 2 hours. Why? It's because within Ignite, the accountability is different. There are accountability measures that are built into 2K in 2 hours. I am still there. I'm still coaching you, but it's in an asynchronous way. In Ignite, it is not asynchronous. We are meeting every single week. So I am holding you accountable. The investment is very different between 2K in 2 hours and Ignite. 2K in 2 hours is my micro course, and it sells for $24, which I'm going to raise that price because the fact that you can create an offer if you actually do the thing, you're getting sales scripts, you're creating an offer. I'm telling you how to price your offer. I'm telling you which one of these templates you should do right now. Like, there's a lot of value in that, and I'm selling it for $24. So I have to, I'm going to raise the price on that. But anyway, it's $24 today, and Ignite is substantially more than that. Ignite is a high ticket offer. So the investment is different. The accountability is different. The investment is different. The commitment is different, right? 2K in 2 hours, you sit down. It is meant to remove all of these obstacles and barriers that women tell me that they have to get started in this business. 2K in 2 hours is designed to remove all of that. If it's price, it's $24. Go get it. If it's time, it takes you 2 hours. Go get it. If it's I don't know what to sell, I'm going to tell you exactly which structure that you should sell. If it's, I don't know what to say in my sales calls, guess what? You get the scripts. You get everything you need in 2K in 2 hours. It is meant to be a fast action. If you know you have a skill and you know you have something to offer and you need help putting that thing into a container and selling it quickly, that's what 2K in 2 hours is designed to do. However, Ignite, yes, you're going to build your offer. Yes, you're going to get sales scripts, but the results in that are completely different. We go way deep into your business in Ignite. Okay? So that's the difference between a course and something that really has the structure, accountability, high ticket investment, right? So here's the thing that I want you to ask yourself. When you think about the biggest shifts that you have had in your own life, think about it professionally, personally, financially. Were those shifts the result of you just reading something? Let me know in the chat. Were those results just a shift of you reading something? I know for me, personally, professionally, and financially, the answer is no. Or were they the results of being in a room, right? So you went to a conference, you were, at a networking event, you were in a relationship, or you were in a situation that required you to grow, that it required you to take steps. Because for most people, it's the latter. We don't change from information. Information doesn't change you. You change from experience. You change from accountability. You change from someone holding you to what you said you want to do. Have you ever hired a personal trainer, a dietitian, a financial advisor? Okay? Because that right there is transformation. And that's what people pay a premium for every single time. Every single time. So if you've been wondering why your content is getting engagement, but it isn't generating income, I want you to hear this. It might not be a content problem. It might be that you're delivering information when your audience is starving for transformation. And those are two completely different offers. Hello. Thanks for joining. Two completely offers. And I kind of compared and contrasted the two offers that I have. My main offers, 2K in 2 hours and Ignite, right? 2K in 2 hours is an introductory offer. Today it's $24. And I just said a few minutes ago, I'm going to raise the price because why is it $24 when you're getting all of this value? But anyway, and Ignite is my flagship group coaching program. So I just did a compare and contrast between those two. Both very helpful resources, but they are for different steps in your journey, okay? And you can find out about either of those on my website at herincomeedit.com. You can find out about 2K in 2 hours. You can learn about the strategy sessions that I offer. You can also learn more about Ignite, okay? Oh, by the way, applications are open for Ignite right now. So I am looking for 5 women who are ready to take action and turn their skills into income. If that is you, head over to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite and learn more about the program. Submit your application because I want to see you in the room. I actually have a goal of helping 30 women get into this. 30 women start their coaching businesses, get set up repeatable processes so that they can start to scale their coaching businesses. 30 women by the end of 2026. So right now I want to start with 5 for this first cohort. We had our founding cohort earlier this year. Cohort 1 is going to kick off on August 10th. Okay, so I'm looking for 5 women who are ready to build something beyond one paycheck. 5 women who are ready to start to create options for themselves beyond their 9 to 5. 5 women who are ready to turn their skills into income. I am looking for you. If that is you, I encourage you. You can either drop the word ignite down in the comments and I will get you the information, or you can take it upon yourself and head right over to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. And the link is also down in the description. So back to the transformation and not information. 2K in 2 hours and Ignite. They are both very beneficial tools and resources, but they're designed to meet you exactly where you are in your journey. One is self-paced, one is not, okay? So let's talk about what all this means for you, okay? Because I didn't bring you here just so I can bring up a bunch of problems. I want to talk about the opportunity that's inside of the problem. Specifically, I want to talk about the opportunity that is sitting inside your own background that you might be completely overlooking. So, hello. Thanks for joining. I want to talk to the woman who is really good at her job. Are you really good at your job? Like really good? Because if you are, that's who I want to talk to right now. I want to talk to the woman who has been promoted, who has been recognized, the one who is sought out. I want to talk to the woman that people send emails to when they're stuck. I want to talk to the woman who has trained new team members, the one who solved problems that wasn't supposed to be solved. I want to talk to you for a second. If that's you, I want to talk to you for a second. If it's not you, you can stick around and listen anyway. Because there is something that you have been sitting on. And you've probably been sitting on it for years without even fully recognizing its income potential. And it's not a side hustle. It's not a hobby that you need to monetize. It is not something that you need to go back to school for. It is the skills that you already use every single day. And I want to challenge something that you may have normalized without even realizing it. Because if you're like me, you were raised on the idea that the path to income safety looks like get your degree, get a good job, get promoted in that job, stay loyal to that job, and then hope for the best. And I'm just going to be honest, for a long time, that felt stable. But here's what the last several years have shown us. And this isn't just me. You can go Google it and get the information about it if you want to. And I want to be very clear about this because I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic about this. The thing about all this is, and what the information and the data is showing us, is that your 9 to 5 was never designed to be your only income stream. If you are taking notes, I want you to write that in your notebook or whatever it is you're taking notes on. And I want you to personalize that thing. I want you to say, my 9 to 5 was never designed to be my only stream of income. Listen, I'm not saying your 9 to 5 is bad. I'm not saying that you need to quit your job. All I'm saying is that your 9 to 5 was never meant to carry all of your financial weight, because layoffs are happening, reorganizations are happening, industries are starting to contract out more, companies are folding, companies that we thought were going to be around forever and ever and ever, they're folding. Budgets are disappearing overnight, y'all. And when your income comes from one source, no matter how stable that source feels right now today, one single disruption can take everything with it. And that is not fear, that is math. That I'm not the best, I am not all that well versed in math, but I understand that 1 minus 1 equals none. Right? Multiple streams of income, they are not something that wealthy people have because they can afford to experiment. Multiple streams of income are how people are protecting themselves before they need to protect themselves. That is safety, y'all. It's strategy. It is the most unsexy, financially responsible thing that you can do for yourself, for your family, for your future, and for your legacy. Now, here's where I want to talk about how, the vehicle of this. Because when most people hear multiple streams of income, they immediately go to stocks. They start thinking about real estate. They think about drop shipping. They think about Amazon, FBA, and maybe something they saw on TikTok at 2 o'clock in the morning. And listen, some of those have their place, okay? But that's not what I'm talking about. I want to give you something. I want to say something that most income advice completely skips over. I want to say something to you today. If you are under the sound of my voice, this is something that most income advice completely skips over. And that is the most accessible, the most scalable, and the most aligned stream of income for a skilled professional woman is coaching or consulting in an area that you already know. The most accessible, scalable, and aligned stream of income for a woman who is skilled is coaching and consulting in an area that you already know. And I'm not saying this because it's the only path. I'm saying it because the barrier to entry it's pretty much none. Like, there's no barrier to entry in this, because you don't need a storefront, you don't need inventory, you don't need startup capital, you don't need to build something from scratch. All you need is your skills, you need a clear offer, and you need a way to reach people who need what you know. And I want to shed some light on something right here that I think we gloss over way too fast, right? There is a woman right now. Maybe she works in HR, maybe she works in healthcare, maybe project management, maybe finance, maybe education, maybe marketing. Fill in, put your profession in here. This woman right now could charge $500 for a single strategy session and deliver more value in 60 minutes than some people deliver in a whole week of work. But whatever your industry is, drop it in. You could charge $500 for one strategy session. For 1 hour. 1 hour, you could make $500. And you could deliver more value in that hour than some people deliver in a whole week of work. But guess what? You're not doing that. And you're not doing that because you're not thinking of yourself as a coach. You think of coaching as something for people with platforms and podcasts and fancy funnels. And what I want to say to you, if any of what I'm saying, if it's resonating with you, what I want to say to you is your coaching business doesn't belong to the loudest voice in the room. It belongs to the most helpful one. Your skills are not just how you earn your current salary. They are your leverage. They are your backup plan. They are your second stream of income and your most underutilized asset. And the sooner you start treating them that way, the sooner your financial picture looks completely different than it does today. Now, here's where I want to get specific about something, because I've had so many conversations with women who say, I know I need a second stream of income. I just don't know what to do with what I know. And that gap right there, that's what I want to talk about, because that gap is not skills. It is packaging. It is knowing how to do something and knowing how to turn that into an offer someone will pay for. Those are two completely things. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Those are two completely different things. So the first thing, life taught you, or you learned it at your job, right? The second thing is what I teach inside of Ignite. Okay? I talked a little bit about Ignite earlier in this conversation. If you missed it, I encourage you to go watch the replay. And I'm going to talk about Ignite again in a few minutes, okay? But first, I want to go deeper on something that I feel like is the roots of why so many women stay stuck in the I know I need more income phase for years, because it's not a strategy problem, it's an identity problem. Now I want to ask you something else. And I want you to really think about it instead of just moving on to the next thing that I'm going to say. So when you think about yourself as a coach, when you think about yourself as someone who charges for guidance, when you think about yourself as someone who builds a business around the thing that you know how to do, what comes up for you? What comes up for you? When you think about yourself as a coach, what comes up? Because for most of the women that I work with, the first thing that surfaces is not excitement. They don't feel excited about it when they start to think about themselves as a coach. They start to have doubt. They start to ask questions of themselves. Who am I to charge for this? Or they'll tell themselves, or even tell me out loud, but there are more people who know so much more than me. Or I don't have a big following. I'd have to put myself out there, and I'm not ready for that. Does any of that sound familiar to you? If it does, please understand you're not alone. But I do want you to notice something about that list that I just rattled off. None of what I just said are facts. All of what I just said are feelings. It's a story that you're telling yourself. It's a narrative that you're speaking over yourself, or that you're thinking over yourself. It is a very convincing, very persistent, and very well rehearsed narrative. But it is still a narrative. It is still a feeling. It is still a story. I have been coaching and teaching for years now. Coaching and teaching for years. I have been building businesses online since 2008. I started this YouTube channel that you're watching in 2009. I built it from the ground up, from zero to an audience of almost 200,000 subscribers at its peak. I have been doing this for a long time. And the single most consistent pattern that I have watched play out across every single income level, every single industry, and every background is this. The women who build income from their skills, they don't do it because they're more qualified. They do it because they decided to stop waiting until they felt ready. Period. And here is the part that might be a little uncomfortable for you to hear. Readiness is a moving target. Ready is always going to move. Every time you hit one milestone, guess what? The bar for readiness moves. Once I get certified, That's a, oh, wait, now I need 10 more years of experience. Oh, wait, now I need to grow my audience a little more. Oh, wait, my kids, I gotta wait for them. She's getting ready to graduate high school. Wait a minute, I'll do it when she graduates high school. Wait, hold on. Things are so busy for me right now. I need to slow down. The milestone bar for readiness, it always moves because it's once this or once that happens or once this happens, right? Meanwhile, time keeps on moving. Don't stop like the hands of time. Seriously, though, time keeps on moving. Keep on moving. Don't stop. No. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Listen, I want to offer you a different framework for thinking about this. Instead of asking, am I ready? What if you asked yourself, am I resourced? Because resourced is something you can assess. Resourced, it means, do I have skills that someone else needs? Yes or no? Do you have skills? I'm asking you point blank. Do you have skills that someone else needs? Yes or no? Drop it in the chat if you feel compelled and if you feel compelled and led to. Do you have skills that someone else needs? Yes or no? Resource means, have you solved a problem that other people are still stuck on? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments if you feel compelled and led to. Have you solved a problem that other people are still stuck on? If you are taking notes, these are questions that you should be writing down in your notes and then answering them at your convenience. Resource means, is there a version of your knowledge that could change someone else's situation? Yes or no? Is there a version of your knowledge that could change someone else's situation? Yes or no? Drop it in the comments if you feel compelled and led to. If you said yes to any of those questions, I'm willing to bet you said yes to all three. But if you said yes to any one of those, then you're not waiting to be ready. You're waiting for permission. And I need you to understand this. The permission that you're waiting for, it is always yours to give yourself. I'm going to go over those three questions again. Have you solved a problem that other people are stuck on? Yes or no? Is there a version of your knowledge that could change someone else's situation? Yes or no? Do you have skills that someone else needs? Yes or no? Now let's talk about alignment, because this is the piece that gets skipped in almost every conversation about income. Because we talk about income goals all the time. We talk about income strategies all the time, but we rarely talk about whether or not the path to income actually fits where you are in your journey. And listen, that matters, and it matters a whole lot. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. It matters a lot because a high income strategy you hate is not a win for you. But an offer that makes money, wait, hold on. Let me get my thoughts right. An offer that makes money but it drains you, that's not freedom. Right? So the goal here isn't just more income any way you can get it. We are not every day we hustling. We ain't grinding all our life over here. The goal is income that fits your life. The goal is income that honors your skills. The goal is income that aligns with your values and gives you options. That's the version of financial growth that will hold you. That is the version that will compound. That is the version that feels like you finally built something, not just earned something. We are not everyday hustling over here. We are not grinding all our life over here. Coaching can be that. When it is built on your real skills and your authentic experience and your authentic self, coaching can be that. Coaching can be the thing that finally feels like you built something and not just earned something. For a lot of women, that is the most naturally aligned income stream that is available to them because they're already doing it. You're already doing it. You're doing it informally. You're doing it in the group chat. You're doing it in meetings at work. You're doing it when when you have your Sunday dinners with your family. You're already being the person that people call when they're stuck. You're already giving advice that people pay premium dollars to professionals for. You're just not charging for it yet. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad about what you've been giving away for free. That's not what I'm this is not a guilt trip. I'm saying it to help you see what's already there, what's already in you. Because sometimes the income stream that you've been searching for, it has been sitting inside the thing that you have been doing your whole life. Now let's talk numbers for a second, because I think we need to really root this conversation in reality, okay? When I talk about coaching as a stream of income, I'm not talking about charging $25 an hour for accountability calls. No. I'm talking about building an offer that delivers a real transformation and pricing it accordingly. Think about it this way. If you help someone get a promotion that comes with a $15,000 salary increase, what is your coaching worth? Drop a number in the comments. Write it down. If you help someone build their first side income stream and it generates $2,000 a month, what is your coaching worth? If you help someone restructure their workload and reclaim 10 hours in their week, these were hours that they were spending burned out and overwhelmed. If you can help them reclaim 10 hours a week, what is your coaching worth? Here's the thing. Transformation is not hard to price when you understand the outcome it produces. Here's something that people don't really say out loud, but I want you to think about it like this. Most people price their coaching based on what they feel comfortable charging, okay? But the market prices it based on what the result is worth. And those two numbers are almost never the same, because one is rooted in self-worth and the other is rooted in the value created. And remember earlier in this conversation when I said I'm going to raise the price of 2K in 2 hours because I feel like $24 is not representative of the value that you get from that micro course. You literally, within 2 hours of focused work, instead of 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 hours of focused work, you can have a product that you can sell for $2,000 or more. And I'm selling it for $24 right now. I'm selling it for $24. Why did you start selling it for $24, Nick? Because I wanted to remove every single obstacle and barrier. I want women to really understand how important it is for us to start to create these options for ourselves, to start to create these avenues and these gateways for freedom. And so I wanted to make the barrier to entry in this so low that you don't even have to think about it. You're going to spend more than $24 on your next DoorDash or Instacart order. You're going to spend more than $24 on that. You're going to spend more than $24 the next time you go to Starbucks, the next time you go out to dinner. So that's why I priced it at $24. And that's also the reason that I'm going to raise the price. Because when we're talking about these numbers, the value of 2K in 2 hours is substantially more than $24, because you're walking out of that with an offer that you can sell for $2,000 or more that same week. And it only took you 2 hours of focused work. 2 hours of focused work. Two different numbers, right? And so when you can separate those two things, self-worth and value, your price changes. Because you stop asking, what am I worth? What am I worth? which is a question with no real answer for real. But you start asking, what is the outcome worth to the woman who needs it? That question has to have a very clear answer, and it does have a very clear answer. 2K in 2 hours, the outcome is you're going to shrink your timeline because you're not going to spend 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months to create your offer. You're going to get it done within 2 focused hours of work, and you get to charge $2,000 or more for that. What is the outcome worth to the woman who needs it? Now let's talk about scaling. Because one of the things I always hear is coaching sounds great, but I can only work with so many people. And yeah, that's a real constraint, but it's also the reason that group coaching exists. A group program allows you to serve multiple clients in one container at a fraction of the time per client, while creating a community that makes the transformation even more powerful. Because transformation doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in a community. It happens when someone else in the room says, you know what, I felt like this last month. And then you realize that you're not behind, you realize that you're right on time. Because oftentimes we feel like we're the only person who's going through something. And this is where I want to bring this conversation full circle, because we started talking about how people don't pay for information, right? We started talking about how people pay for transformation. And I want you to see, the thing that I want you to see is that coaching is the purest form of transformation that you can sell when it is done well, when it is built on your real skills, when it is packaged with clarity, and when it is delivered in a community. It's not the easiest thing to build. There's a learning curve to positioning yourself, okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. There is a process to packaging your skills into an offer. There is a strategy to finding and enrolling clients, but the foundation, that is already in you. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience, and experience is the one thing that no one can replicate and no AI can replace. Your skills are your backup plan. They're your leverage, and they're your next stream of income. And I want you to say that to yourself. Not lottie-dottie and everybody's skills, your skills. Okay? So, I have been dropping a lot of frameworks and perspective shifts in this conversation today. And I want to make sure that you leave here with more than just inspiration. So let me give you a really clear picture of what transformation-based coaching looks like when it is built with intention. Not in theory, okay? This is something tangible. Transformation-based coaching, it starts with a very clear outcome. So it's not, I help people improve their careers. It is, I help mid-career professionals get director level roles in 90 days without starting over. It is not, I help women with their finances. It is, I help women in their 40s build their investment strategy around what they already earn. Do you see the difference in those? One is very information adjacent, and the other is transformation centered. So one attracts people who are curious, and the other attracts people who are ready. So transformation-based coaching is also built on your framework. It is built on the way you think through problems, the process you use, even if you've never written it down. So the sequence that you naturally take people through when you're helping them, that is your proprietary method. That is what makes your coaching yours, and that's what makes it impossible to copy. And transformation-based coaching is sold by speaking to outcomes, not the features. So you're not going to sell it by saying we meet twice a month. You're going to sell it by saying by month 2, you will have a live offer and your first 3 potential clients identified. So you're not going to say it by saying you get lifetime access to the curriculum. You're going to say you leave this program with an income stream that didn't exist when you started. And I want to tell you something about something that I have been building, and that was designed for exactly this in mind. It is Ignite. I mentioned it earlier in this conversation a couple times. Ignite is my 12-week group coaching program for professional women who are ready to build a coaching or consulting stream of income from the skills that they already have. And before I really tell you what it is and tell you what it's not, I want to tell you what it's not. It is not a course that you're going to buy. So it's not like 2K in 2 hours. It's not a template that you'll customize and get stuck on. It is not another piece of content that you consume and then go back to exactly where you were. Ignite is a structured, guided, community-powered 12 weeks where you go from, I know I have something to offer, to I have an offer, I know who it's for, and I have a strategy to fill it. Every week in this program, we are building something. Every call, we are solving something specific to your situation. And the community around you is full of women who are in the same season of life you're in. They're professional, they're accomplished, and they're done waiting for more. In Ignite, we are going to work through how to identify the most marketable version of your skills. We're going to identify how to package those skills into a clear, compelling offer. We are going to talk about and work through how to find and attract your ideal clients without a massive social media following, how to position yourself as the go-to person in your space, how to price your offer in a way that reflects the transformation it delivers, and how to build a sales process that doesn't feel icky, salesy, or forced. This is not a program about mindset. This is a program about outcomes. Mindset work happens when we do the work together, but it is not a prerequisite for starting this work. I am looking for 5 women who are ready to build another stream of income on the side of their paycheck. I am looking for 5 women who are ready to turn their skills into income. Applications for Ignite are open right now, and I want to be clear about who this is for. This is for the woman who is done being the most valuable person in the room who's still not paying herself like it. Ignite is for the woman who has been saying, I want to do something with what I know for so long that she's tired of hearing herself say it. This is for the woman who wants to build something that is hers, not dependent on one employer, one industry, or one economic season. I'm looking for 5 women. And here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to know. The investment in Ignite, it's not a small number. But I also know what the alternative costs. Another year of knowing you should build something and then not building it, how much does that cost you? Another year of depending upon one income stream, what does that cost you? Another year of your skills generating income for someone else's business and not yours, what does that cost you? What is that dollar amount? Because that right there is the cost of waiting, and that cost, it compounds. So if an Ignite feels like what you've been looking for, I want you to head to my website, herincomeedit.com/ignite. Submit your application. Link is also down in the description. And the application is short. It should take about, if you really submit this application and take your time, it's going to take you between 5 and 10 minutes. And then if the application is a good fit, you'll get access to book a strategy call with me, and we'll talk through your application. So there is no pressure. There is no pitch. Once I review your application, if it's right, then we'll have a real conversation. And if you want me to send the link directly to you, I want you to drop the word Ignite in the comments. and I will make sure you get the information. Like I said, you can go over to my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite or click the link down in the description. And the thing that I want you to carry out of this live stream and into every other decision that you make about your income, your skills, and your future is this. We are at a moment in time where the traditional structures of safety are shifting. Your 9 to 5 isn't going to go away, or the idea of a 9 to 5 isn't going to go away, but it was never designed to be enough on its own. And the women who understand that, the ones who decide to build something alongside their careers, not instead of their career, alongside their careers, the women who understand this, those are the women who get to make choices. I'm looking for 5 women who are ready to make choices. You get to choose to stay. You get to choose when to leave. You get to choose how much to work and for whom you work for and for how long. You get options when you start building this. And options are what real financial safety looks like. Not a bigger salary from one single source of income. Options. Listen, your skills are not a hobby. They're not a cute little side thing. Your skills are your leverage. They are your backup plan. They are your next chapter. They are your future. They are your legacy. And the only question is whether or not you're going to use them. The woman who is waiting to feel ready will always be waiting. The woman who is waiting to feel ready will always be waiting. The woman who decides that she's already resourced, she's already building. Remember, we talked about what it means to be resourced. Those 3 questions, yes or no questions. Ask yourself those questions. If you missed what it means to be resourced and you missed those 3 questions, I encourage you to watch the replay of this episode on my YouTube channel. In the meantime, I want you to head over to my website, herincomeedit.com/ignite. I am looking for 5 women who are ready to start building alongside their careers, who are ready to start creating options for themselves, for their families, for their futures, and for their legacies. I am looking for 5 women to join me in Ignite for this first cohort that we're kicking off on August 10th. You can drop the word Ignite down in the comments and I will make sure that you get the link. Visit my website. It's in the description. I want to see you on the other side of this. I want to thank each and every one of you for popping in and out of this live today. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. This one was good. This one was good. Listen, this Her Income Edit community that we're building, it means everything to me, y'all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing me love. My name is Nick Scott. This has been another episode of Nick at Noon. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Mountain Time. I hope to see your application for Ignite come across my email box today or through the weekend. Applications are open. Again, I'm looking for 5 women. 5. Where you at? Was I talking to you in this one? Were you nodding along? Fill out the application. It doesn't commit you to anything except possibly getting on a strategy call for me for 30 minutes, okay? Happy Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. And